everybody, and welcome back to our final day of Journey with God VBS. We hope that this has been a fun experience for you, and I know it's kind of sad that this is our final day of VBS, but today we're going to end it out really well. It's going to be just as awesome and great as the other days. Now, today our theme is, when we feel discouraged, God promises. Now, God promises to always be with us. No matter how bad we feel about ourselves or the world around us, God is always with us. And so we need to stand on that promise. In fact, Miss Rachel in a moment is going to sing a song called Standing on the Promises of God. Scripture is full of the promises of God. And so we want to cling to those promises when we feel discouraged so that we know that God is always with us. And so I want you to practice that with me this morning. I'm going to have you stand up and we're going to shout again our response. I'm going to say, when we feel discouraged, I want you to say then, God promises. Can you do that for me? I'm going to say again, when we feel discouraged, and I want you to say as loud as you can, God promises. So let's do that together. When we feel discouraged, God promises. Let's do it again. When we feel discouraged, God promises. Good job, everybody. Now, Miss Rachel's going to come, so I want you to stay where you are, stand up, and get ready to sing to God.
So welcome to the last day of VBS. So we are going to be learning one more song today, and then of course you will also be able to sing through the other songs that we've learned in the last couple days. So the last song that we are going to do is called Standing on the Promises, and this is actually a style of music called a hymn. And a hymn is a very popular type of song that has been used in churches for many, many years. It's not as popular nowadays, but during the 1800s, it was very popular to hear songs like this in churches. And you would find a song like this in a book called a hymnal. And a hymnal is a book that just has lots of different songs in it. And usually these types of books you would find in churches. So that's a little bit about the song Standing on the Promises. So you can also, just like with the other songs, there's not any specific way you have to do this. You can, there is going to be a verse and a chorus, so you can just sing the chorus part. That one's a little bit easier. That part of the song is a little bit easier to learn. So if you just feel comfortable singing that part, then you can do that. You can listen to it a few times and then sing along with it. Or like with the other songs, if you don't feel comfortable singing, you can just keep the beat. You can move along, you can clap your hands, and you can participate in it, in the music that way. So it's been very fun doing music with you guys during these few days of VBS, and I hope that these songs that you learned will be songs that you'll keep with you for the rest of your life, and that you'll hopefully be able to sing them not just now, but maybe in other points in your life as well. And you can even teach them to other people in your life and teach them how, what they mean to you and where you learned them, and a little bit about what you learned about them, such as the history and the instrument.
Standing My name is Pastor Mark, and I am one of the pastors at Oxford Presbyterian Church. And I am so excited that you are here at Vacation Bible School this year. We've had a great time learning about how God is always with us on the journey. Even though we don't always know how the journey will end, we have everything we need because God rescues, God provides, and God promises. This year, we've learned about many different kinds of journeys. We've learned about Moses and the Israelites on their journey through the desert to God's promised land. We've learned what that journey might have looked like if it had been a road trip in the car instead. Right now, we're all staying at home in the middle of a pandemic called COVID-19. That can sometimes feel like being on a journey too. There are many different kinds of journeys, and as you get older, you will experience different journeys too. Journeys through school, different experiences, and new adventures. Life is kind of like a journey, and God leads all of us through it together. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about Moses and the Israelites learning a very important lesson about being on the journey together. But before I do that, I want to show you my very favorite storytelling spot. Come on, I'll show you. Elsie, you're sitting in my favorite spot. Have you ever had this happen to you? You show up to your favorite spot, or maybe ready to play with your favorite toy, and someone has already taken it. I wonder if Belzy will let me share the storytelling spot. This is Belzy, my pet dog. And right now, she and I are sharing the storytelling spot together. Isn't that right, girl? When we go on a journey together, there are an awful lot of things that we share. When you're at home, maybe you share toys with friends or brothers or sisters. At school, we share school supplies. Right now, I'm sharing some belly rubs. We also share jobs too. Maybe you've helped out with chores around the house with your mom, your dad, brothers or sisters. Maybe you've been a special helper at school or in church. Grown-ups do an awful lot of sharing too. In church, there are people who sing music and teach lessons and preach sermons and cook delicious meals and help clean up. Sharing is important. It reminds us that we are not alone on the journey. We are all on the journey together, and God is with us on the journey too. That is God's promise to us, that no matter what journey we find ourselves on in life, God is always with us.
For 40 years, Moses led the Israelites along their journey to the Promised Land with God's help. And when they finally arrived, God made them a promise. God had promised that when they came to the end of their journey, they would no longer be slaves. And God kept that promise. The Israelites came into a land with beautiful flowing streams and springs of underground waters that welled up from valleys and hills, a land of grain and delicious bread, of beautiful trees and fresh fruit to eat, of yummy vegetables and sweet honey. God promised that they would have everything they needed on the journey, and God kept that promise. God promised that they would have children and grandchildren and families, and that those families would live in that promised land for generations to come. And they would teach those children all of the important lessons that they learned along the way. They would remember when they had to give up all the things that they really liked, how it was hard, but how they also learned that even when they had to give up certain things, it was okay, because God had given them everything they needed. They would remember when they had to try new things that they have never tried before. They would remember eating strange new foods like manna and thinking, "What is it? Can you say manna?" They would remember that at first, manna did not taste the same as the other foods that they liked to eat, but it was nutritious and good for them and kept them healthy along the way. God reminded them that we don't just live on foods that we always like to eat. We live on God's Spirit, God's Word, and God's promise to us. Therefore, God said, follow my instructions, keep my commandments. Remember that no matter what journey you are on in life, you are never alone. Remember that you have each other, and remember that you have me.
I hope that you will remember these lessons on the journey and adventure of your own life too. No matter where it takes you, remember that you are never alone. We are all on this journey together, and God is with us on the journey too, no matter what. Thank you so much for joining me at Storytime here at Vacation Bible School, and we can't wait to see you next year.
We all wrote on little slips of paper silly things that we can do. So we're going to say, I promise to, and then read the piece of paper.
Yes. Okay. I promise to do a cartwheel.
I promise to say the alphabet as fast as I can. A, B, C, D, Z.
I promise to pat my head and rub my belly. Oh wait, pat and rub? Yeah.
So today we're going to make power balls. It's a quick and easy snack, and we have 1 cup of oatmeal. We have 2/3 cup of flaked coconut, and 1/4 cup of ground flaxseed. That brings out the omega-3 fatty acids in there. We have peanut butter. You could use any nut butter that you want, almond butter, soy butter. And we have 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. And 1/3 cup of honey. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We're just going to stir all that together, mix that in. Let me get my wooden spoon here. We've got the oats. That helps with our intestinal tract. We've got some coconut with some fatty acids, and the honey with some carbohydrates. We've got our nut butter with our protein. So we've got carbohydrates, proteins, and fats all in this little snack. Then I'm going to take my little disher for a 1-ounce scoop, and I can measure that out onto my platter. And there we go. Eat and enjoy. Thank you.
Hi VBS, my name's Kylie, and I'm going to be showing you how to make a sandal or a pinwheel. To make a pinwheel, you need scissors, a pencil, a thumbtack, markers, and a plain sheet of paper. The first step is you need to make your paper square. So fold your paper over to the other side, line it up as good as you can, and make a crease. Then you need to take your scissors and cut along the edge that you just made. After this is done, you have a square blank sheet of paper, and you need to decorate it however you like. We're going to be using both sides, and both sides of the paper will be showing, so decorate it however you want. I've decorated mine with crosses and hearts on one side. It really doesn't matter what you do. But we have this crease right here. Now we're going to take that crease and make another one just like it, going in the opposite direction. Line it up and fold. Next, doesn't matter what side, take a marker and mark around 1/3 from the center. Here's the center, and I marked approximately 1/3 around. you're going to take your scissors and cut up to that mark that you just made. Once you're done with that, you need to take one end and put it in the middle, and then take it and do the same with all of the other pieces. This part can be a little bit tricky, so you might want a parent's help, but take your thumbtack or push pin or whatever you may have in your house, stick it, and push it through your pieces of paper. So it came through. So be careful not to poke yourself when you poke it on the other side. Then you're going to take your pencil, or you can use a dowel rod. I just happen to have a pencil with a squishy eraser. Then you're going to take it and push it very carefully through the eraser, being sure not to push it through the other end. So it's just fastened on there like that. You're going to want to wiggle your pinwheel so that it's nice and loose so that it can blow with the wind. Just like that. The wind, you can't see the wind, just like God. We can't always see God, but it still will make it move. And so even in times of uncertainty and hard times like these, God is with us even if we can't always see him. This next craft is a little bit easier. We're going to make a sandal because just like in Exodus when Moses was walking his people out of Egypt, it may feel like they were alone and in the desert, but God was always walking with them and he was always protecting them. And so no matter where you go, whether it's to school, home, the park, wherever it is, God is walking with you. The first step is to trace your foot on a plain piece of paper. You can do it, or you can have a family member help you. Cut it out and decorate it however you'd like. I wrote God walks with you with the camels and Moses and his people being led out of Egypt. Next, you need to approximately mark where you think your toe is going to be. You can either measure it out or just kind of guess. Then you need to mark 2 dots on either side of your flip-flop. I put mine there, and that's where my toe would go. So that's where we can put our places for our flip-flop. Take a hole puncher and punch your holes. After you have your holes punched about where your flip-flop feet would go, you need to make a knot at the end of your pipe cleaner. Stick it through the back of your top knot, bend it and put it through either of your knots, just like that, and make a knot at the other end. After I've made my knot, it's going to be secure in both places, and then I'm just going to cut right there, and then I'm going to do the same with the other side. Now that you have your sandal made, you can decorate your pipe cleaners with beads or anything else that you like. I didn't have any beads, so I left it plain. Now you have a sandal and a pinwheel, both to remind you that God is with you wherever you go.
All right, so here we are. We're at the end of our VBS experience of Journey with God. We have learned throughout this VBS that God rescues, God provides, and God promises. We hope that you've had a lot of fun today and that this whole experience has reminded you of how great our God really is. So we're going to go out in the best way that we know how, and that is to sing and to dance. So Miss Rachel's going to come forward, and we are going to have fun as we end this great VBS together.
Standing on the promises of Christ my King, through eternal ages let his praises ring. Glory in the highest I will shout and sing, standing on the promises of God. Standing, standing, standing on the promises of God my Savior. Standing, standing, I'm standing on the promises So what do you think that I did do? I raised my rod and I cleared my throat, and all of Pharaoh's army did the dead man's throat. Well, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I could sing unending songs of how you saved my soul, and I could dance 1,000 miles because of your great love. My heart is bursting, Lord, to tell of all you've done, how you changed my life and wiped away the past. I wanna shout it out from every rooftop, sing. For now I know that God is for me, not against me. I could sing unending songs of how you saved my soul, and I could dance 1,000 miles because of your great love. My heart is bursting, Lord, to tell of all you've done, of how you've changed my life and wiped away the past. I wanna shout it out from every rooftop, sing. For now I know that God is for me, not against me. I could sing unending songs of how you saved my soul, and I could dance 1,000 miles because of your great love. Everybody's singing now, 'cause we're so happy. Everybody's dancing now, 'cause we're so happy. If only we could see your face, see you smiling over us, and unseen angels celebrate. Hey, for joy is in this place. Oh, I could sing unending songs of how you saved my soul, and I could dance 1,000 miles because of your great love. One more time. Oh, I could sing unending songs of how